Hello everyone, welcome to my music room here in Maldon in Essex in the UK. If you don't know where Maldon is, it's very famous for its sea salt. You probably still don't know where it is, but it's on the east coast to the east of London. Quite a nice day today, so I feel ready to do some warm-ups and see whether we can't improve your vocal tone as we do so. Now, I'm going to start off to make sure that your bodies are ready to sing. So just make sure that we're nice and loose physically. So maybe sort of just jiggle around a little bit. We don't want your legs to be rooted to the spot. Most importantly, we don't want your knees to get locked. It's very easy for your knees to get locked, especially when you've been standing in a rehearsal for a long time, and it is something that tends to creep up on us as we get older as well. So let's just do a little bit of movement, gentle movement, and then a little bit of stretching, keeping the lower body flexible, but also thinking about the upper body. So I'm going to just do a couple of shoulder rolls to make sure that I'm not tense up there, and back the other way. And then I'm going to do the other one as well. And then maybe thinking about opening up the upper body. So we stretch out. Now, I'm going to see if this is impossible, but I'm going to aim to try and touch the walls. Just really feel that opening up. Little backward circles. If it's not painful, don't do any of this if it's painful. That just gets you moving. Okay, and then shake it all out. Okay, maybe we'll do a little bit of a stretch to get the sides open. So I'm going to stretch over that way. You can really feel that pulling there. And then I'm going to stretch this way. And again, relax. And then maybe just let your jaw drop to your chest as well. And feel all the vertebrae pulling out. And then slowly back up. And a little jiggle again. So, hopefully, you should feel reasonably relaxed now. Just one thing you can think about, you want to make sure your spine is straight. Posture is so important. Quite often, if we've been standing for a while, it's quite easy for us to develop a bit of a curvature in the base of the spine here, which is going to affect the ability of the muscles to work properly. So, a little exercise you can do, put your thumbs on your, move back so you can see me, on your hip bone. Actually, I'm just going to adjust. Right, yeah. Put your thumbs on your hip bone and then put your fingers on your flanks, on your buttocks if you like, and see if you can spin. So you're spinning them that way. You need to bend your knees and that will just pull out the base of your spine. So I've got my knees bent and I've got a nice straight spine now. You don't need to sing like this because that would be quite tiring, but it's a good thing to do just to check that you're not rigid, you're not stiff. Okay, so we're now ready to make some vocal noises, and a lot of what I'm going to be doing is really vocal stretching, like we were just thinking about stretching our body. We need to make sure that the muscles that we're using to produce the sound, so the vocal folds, are in a good condition to work and ready to respond to the demands that we're about to place upon them. I'm going to start with using the smallest amount of sound that we can possibly manage, so because we want to make sure that the vocal folds are just very, very gently starting to work in the same way that you stretch in the morning before you go off and do any exercise, really. So let's just do very gentle. I'm basically just moving the mucous membrane. And by doing this, I'm releasing around here as well. I've got no tension around my jaw. Okay, as a slight alternative version of this, see if you can make the sound down your nose now. Just do. This is impossible, but I often describe this as an aspirate down your nose, because that little exhalation opens up. You may feel a little bit more opening across the back of your neck, as opposed to when you do, which is a little bit more at the front. We want to make sure the whole mechanism is nicely balanced. Okay, I'm going to give you a little pattern. I'm going to do, let's do that together. Now we'll go up a half step and do another. And again. And just one more. Good. You can't take this very high because the higher you come, the more you're going to want to start to produce vocal tone. And this is all about just opening up and aiming for this place, not trying to produce the voice as such. Now the other side of the coin is to use the falsetto, the very top of the voice. Again, we're talking about releasing around here. Just do boo! Any odd notes? Boo! The important thing is that you're just really up above. We always want to think about bringing the top of the voice down. Try doing that again. Boo! And you could try, this is quite hard, you could try coming all the way down from there and ending up where we were a moment ago. So you do boo! Most of you will probably get a clunk, a change of gear in the middle. But long term, this is a good thing to aim for. See if you can get rid of that. You just have to blur the edges. I'll do it again. Boo! Now I feel fairly relaxed now and open, and because I'm releasing here and around the larynx, around the hyoid bone in particular, I'm trying to get the mechanism into a sort of a vertical plane. So I'm now going to go on to talk about making sure that you're involving your abdominal muscles, because we need to ensure that those are working to make sure that you don't sing out of tune. The one thing that really exercises conductors is getting a choir to sing in tune. And there are two reasons why, or generally, broadly speaking, there are two reasons why choirs tend to sing under the note. And one is because there's not enough going on around here, around the abdomen, and the other is that the sound is too far back. If we don't have overtones, if we don't have the upper harmonics, it will sound under the note. So the combination of those two things, making sure the abdomen is working and that you've got the overtones and the sound is nice and forward, should mean that you always sing in tune. So thinking about the abdominal muscles, there's no great mystique about how to make them work because we use them all the time. Just think about what you feel when you laugh. Now, we don't think about laughing. I think I'll laugh now, ha ha ha. I mean, that would be weird. It's a reflex, so I want to tap into your reflexes. So imagine that you are literally about to go in to give a concert, or you're about to go into church or whatever. Somebody's just told you a very funny story. You want to laugh, but of course you can't. So we're going to do, I've suppressed my natural urge to laugh. And what do you feel? You feel the tension around the middle. So your abdominal muscles are working. They're already engaged to support the sound. Now, I want you to breathe in and out very slowly. So maybe on a count of 6, I'm going to breathe in and out. That's quite a good measured speed. Now, this time I want you to do that again and add your silent laugh. So I'm doing my suppressed laugh. It's sort of, oh my goodness. And I'm going to keep that going on the inward and the outward movement. So it will be, because there's sort of a tremulousness to that sound as these muscles are working. So they're not fixed, they're not stiff, but obviously muscles work through contraction. So I can feel that tension, but there is a motivation for it, and the motivation is this silent laugh. Let's do it again. A count of 6. Okay. Now, what I would really like you to aim for is to be feeling that sense of excitement, that suppressed laugh, all the time you're singing, because that means these muscles are working hard. Okay? By the way, it works just as well if you want to try doing a silent cry. Just depends on the emotion that you want to use. And of course, when we're singing a piece of music, there is going to be an emotion which is appropriate for whatever the text is, somewhere between that hysteria, that hysterical laughter, and abject despair at the other end. Okay? So now, I'm going to keep the silent laugh going. I'm going to give you an A, because that's a fairly standard note, easy note for everybody. And while I'm doing my silent laugh, I'm going to sing on sing, closing down onto the NG. So it's like this, sing, if that makes sense. So I'm doing a silent laugh and just singing on the NG on sing. Let's try that, ready? Sing. Now I felt my abdominal muscles going, and I was just producing a very small, easy sound on the NG. Do it one more time, and just think about your tongue position as you're doing it. Sing. What did you feel? Hopefully, you felt the tip of the tongue on your lower front teeth, and with the sides of your tongue at the back, you would have felt your upper molars, or certainly the top of your mouth. Okay, let's just try it one more time, still doing your silent laugh. Sing. Okay, now the sound is alive, and it's coming to the front. At the moment, the sound is coming down the nose. Now, we don't want you to sing down your nose when you're singing properly, but we'll get to that in a second. I'm now going to do what we call a siren. Some of you, I am sure, will know all about a siren. So we're going to do a rising wave form, gradually taking our time to go higher in pitch. And that falling, that slight falling motion as we're going up is important, because if we just go like that, it'll probably encourage you to push. So we're going to do silent laugh still. Sing. See how high you can go. The higher you go, the harder you've got to laugh. Let's try it again. Okay, so your tongue's gone into the right place. This wants to be, if you possibly can, this wants to be your default position. That position for the tongue, and all of this excitement, laughter going on in the middle. Okay, we're going to do some triads now. And we're just going to do it twice, each triad twice. First time to the sing, closing onto the NG, and the second time we're going to open up onto an E, still doing the silent laugh, so it's going to be sing. Okay? Now I just noticed as I did that I sort of went and lit up. So that's what happens when you're doing your silent laugh, when you're really involved all the time. Wouldn't that be wonderful if every time you're singing in a concert you look like you're really enjoying yourselves? Let's try it. Sing. Go up a half step. Sing. Another half step. Sing. Good. We're going to go back down here, and we're going to change the vowel to E. This time, however, I want to give you just one more thing to think about. Difficult this, you've got to think about all of these things at the same time. But try at the end of each repetition to release all of the tension around the middle. So in doing so, you will release your breath. That means that you will get your breath in far lower into your lungs. It's a much more efficient use of the mechanism. People don't think enough about releasing their breath. So let me just demonstrate quickly. It will be sing, and I let that go. I let all of the tension around the middle go. I sometimes tell people it's a bit like allowing your beer belly out. I'm sure nobody's got a beer belly, but anyway, it's just bleh. Splat, people refer to it as. So let's try a whole series of those, releasing the breath between each one and keeping the silent laugh going. 3, 4. Singer, singer, singer. Release. Singer, singer, singer. you manage to keep your tongues in the same place? Don't let the tongue move between the sing and the e. Go back down here and we'll now do it to an R. Your tongue will want to move, especially if, like me, you were born and brought up in the home counties. Those are all the counties around London. We have these very refined tones, at least we like to think that we're very refined, but it does mean that the R goes back. Now I think for Americans, because your R is a bit brighter and further forward, you don't have quite the same problem, but the tongue will want to move back. So try and keep your tongue up against your upper molars on the lower front teeth. Not rigidly, nothing must be unnatural. I'm not telling you to fix it there. Just be aware of that shape. With your silent laugh. 3, 4. Sing-a, 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 sing-a. Good, great. Now, I'm going to extend this idea. I want you to keep your tongues in the same place, and I want you to keep your involvement going around the middle. So I'm going to give you a tripartite shape now. We're going to start with an arpeggio, which we're going to sing to that sing sound. Sing. Okay, still doing the silent laugh. Let's just try that. And sing. Then we're going to go up one note onto the 9th and do a descending scale like that, which we're going to sing to E. E. Let's try that. And E. Now don't worry about trying to make each note separated and audible. As long as you're involving yourself around here, those abdominal muscles are working, we will be able to hear the notes. You probably won't. People often think they're just going E, but you're not. Keep the body engaged and we'll get the articulation. Don't forget, the hardest thing, or one of the hardest things about singing, is you can't hear what you sound like. So let's try that scale. E. So if I put it together, it will be sing, E. Right? Let's try that again. Still laughing, and sing, E. Now, I am going to add a triad to the end of that, which I'm going to sing to E. If I put it together, it will be sing, E. Okay? Now, because we're singing, I said earlier, I'll explain why we're singing down the nose on the NG. It's just to put the tongue into the right place, okay? And then when we open onto the E, you lift your soft palate and the sound is thrown to the front of the mouth. That's where your overtones come from. And I'm still laughing. Do that one again. 3, 4. Sing, E, upper half tone. Sing, E, release your breath. Sing, E, sing, E, sing, E, sing, Do drop out if it gets too high. I don't expect basses or altos to be able to sing as high as tenors and sopranos. Just do it. Everything must be comfortable. Don't overreach yourselves. You may find if you work on these exercises on your own, you can get higher. Normally I would expect sopranos to be able to get up to top Cs relatively easily. Now, I'm going to make this slightly more complicated. I'm going to change to the E halfway up the arpeggio. So I'm going to do sing E. Okay, let's just try that. Sing E. So that means we're going to come down the scale to E. And the triad will be R. R. Let me demonstrate the whole thing. Sing E. R. And I'm still laughing. Can you believe it? Try that. 3, 4. Sing E. R. Okay, let's do a whole series of those, going up a half step each time and releasing the breath. Laughing 3, 4. Sing E. R. 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 Sing or version of this exercise. We haven't sung O or U. Now, when you went from E to E to R, you were gradually opening your mouth, dropping your jaw a little bit, and try and get from the R to the O by bringing your lips forward. Ah or, ah or. That means that you'll keep your tongue in the right place and you'll keep your mouth open and everything will be relaxed. When you bring your lips forward, you get that sound. Many years ago, I remember Frank referring to this as fish lips, which is a marvellous description which I have used ever since, particularly, of course, if you're thinking about angelfish. Okay, so we're going to do sing-ye-ah. All of the sounds we've done so far on the way up. Sing-ye-ah. Let's just do that. And sing-ye-ah. Now we're going to do oh. And then the overtones will stay there. Let's try that all the way through. 3, 4. We're going to do it again because I expect you've forgotten to laugh. You're thinking about that phrase, and so you forget the other things. We need to keep all those plates spinning at the same time. 3, 4. Upper half step. Release your breath. Right, okay, you could probably get it a bit higher. It's a little bit early in the morning for me, so that's quite high for a baritone, quite high enough, I think. So hopefully now you've got your abdominal muscles working, you've got your tongue in the right place, the sound's at the front, you're not making too much noise, you don't need to make too much noise, so you should be ready to sing. I am just going to do one more thing though, before I finish, which is to think about these abdominal muscles again. This is quite a tiring exercise, but I find it's one that works really, really hard just to remind people about these muscles down here. Now, first of all, I want you to just pant. Just do that. Now, I can let go of my jaw as I'm doing this, so let's just do that and think about your jaws. Okay, now you should feel the abdominal muscles engaging and releasing, engaging and releasing. So if you want to think about your stomachs, they're moving out when you breathe in and in when you breathe out. There'll be a bit of movement there. Now, this time, on each exhalation, we're going to vocalize. But I am breathing in between each note. Hope you can hear that. It's not just one breath and then doing 3 notes. I need you to breathe in between each note. Even though you don't actually need extra breath, what we're trying to do is make it the amount of effort going into the inhalation and the exhalation equal, because that means it's going to help you maintain this flexibility in your abdomen. What we don't want is for your abdomen just to get tight. Okay, tension per se is not good. So let's try this. Now we're going to try and go up by semitones, half steps. Okay, let's all try that together. 3 and 4 and And interestingly, because you're working so hard there, it takes all the pressure off around here, and you find you can go up through your registers quite easily. You'll end up with quite a lot of stretch here, so accessing the top of your voice should be fairly easy. Do it again to an oo. 3 and 4 and Okay, I'm quite tired now around the middle, so that's good. If I get to the end of a concert or a rehearsal and I'm aching around here, I know I've been working properly. What I don't want to do is to feel tired vocally. Good, I hope you've enjoyed that. I've enjoyed that. I feel nicely warmed up now, and perhaps I should go off and sing Gerontius somewhere. Wouldn't that be nice if we could actually sing live? Thank you for watching.
Join us at berkshirechoral.org. Under our Singer Resources tab, you'll find upcoming programming, online learning events, and more vocal exercises and warm-ups.